Here's Ethereum, just weeks and weeks and weeks of consolidation, suppression at a multi-year yellow lower trend line of a very big triangle. And here's ADA. Downside in play, upside target of $2 in play. What do we do with this? We have a $2 target on Ethereum or on ADA. We have a $4,000 target on Ethereum, but on the short term, we have a lot of things that could be driving crypto lower. How do we deal with this? In this video, I want to explain it, and I want to jump right into the technical analysis on these charts. So hit the subscribe, hit the like. If you're not in our intelligence system, get access to our risk models. This is an Ethereum risk model. We're going to talk about it a little bit in today's video. 40% off right now. Check out the system, and we have other tools back there. So here's Ethereum on the daily. I want to get right into targets, and I want to make it as simple as possible. Right now, there is incredible tension happening with the Middle East and everything that's going on right now. That whole ordeal could spiral fast, and it's going to impact crypto. There's going to be downside targets we have to anticipate. Those high fear capitulation environments that crypto sometimes finds itself in. I do want to talk about upside targets, though. Sometimes it is these environments where it is best to talk about upside targets. And that's just something I've learned over the years. Sentiment gets incredibly bad. You'll find that I stick with my macro long-term bullishness. So let's discuss this on Ethereum. Here's Ethereum on the weekly. Incredible to see. This is like a month and a half of resistance. It's normal to get the throw or the pullback to a multi-year triangle and get resistance. I never anticipated it would be like this. Look at these wicks. Look at the suppression. And guess what? All the while, here's what's happening. Ethereum ETFs see a 5x increase in weekly inflows, totaling 530 million. Whales have accumulated 435 million worth of ETH through OTC deals. This is today. ETH ETF inflow, 21.4 million yesterday. Institutions keep accumulating Ethereum. What is going on? And this is, institutions know that there's downside in play. And I'm going to show you those targets in just a minute. But there's this as well. Ethereum whales accumulated $2.5 billion in ETH on Sunday, the largest daily inflow since 2018, as price consolidates in a multi-month range similar to 2017. The whale accumulation we're seeing right now with Ethereum is something we've not seen in years. And all the while, the multi-month consolidation is not something we've seen since 2017. And I found it interesting to go to our risk model and look back here in 2017. Just look at this. Look at Ethereum risk score 20s, insane consolidation, right? And then all of a sudden starts getting some breakout momentum. What was leading to that breakout momentum? Definitely different narratives and different things that would ever lead to a breakout momentum of the current risk score of Ethereum. But notably, look at the compression on the Ethereum risk model right here. Multi-year compression, really. And look at it back here. Right? And then all of a sudden, bull market, a parabolic bull market. It would have been incredible to have this risk model back then, just in altcoins in general, just to get a sense, hey, here's 100, good time to take some profits. And then here's 100 again, good time to take some profits. And this is really why I built a system to be able to go into our exit planner, not only speculate on price and set up like an exit strategy based on price, but use our risk models to set alerts to say, hey, time to sell some, time to take some profits. And really, if we're looking at the Ethereum risk model and we're looking at just data in terms of inflows and whale inflows, man, on the macro, and this is why I think institutions are accumulating, on the macro, things are looking very good for Ethereum and altcoins. Now, I say that in an environment where I realize we might actually be about to fall. So let's talk about targets for Ethereum, and then let's look at Cardano. So we looked at the multi-week consolidation here, even right below that 50-week moving average at that lower trend line of this multi-year triangle. Let's look at targets on the short term. There's so much going on right now. And what that is multiple patterns, multiple targets. I want to talk about a couple. So number one, there's kind of this ascending, broadening wedge that Ethereum is in over the course of these these daily candles. Target to the downside, if we break down, is around 1,800 or so. That's meaningful because we've already identified and been talking about this swing low to swing high Fibonacci channel, which has been in play, like $1,900 to around $1,600, $1,700. That target is right in there. If things get worse and even tomorrow's hawkish from Jerome Powell or I think it's tomorrow. And we're falling. This would be a normal target, and it's a helpful target to have amidst volatility to the downside. But again, we'll be falling into a high fear environment similar to the tariff fears that we had just back here. And if this is happening in a higher low environment, as institutions probably will continue accumulating, I'm just saying this is very bullish. So maybe we don't even get the breakout to the upside in the short term, but we're falling first and then we're pulling into the apex, right? Again, testing the apex. My target to Ethereum to the upside, yes, if Ethereum starts moving and we don't break down out of the ascending broadening wedge, it's around 3,500. But my real target, if Ethereum starts making a move to the upside into this apex, it's very simply this previous swing high. It's testing that area. It's around $4,000 because that's the starting point of the move, right? Breaking into the apex, a bullish confirmation on the macro, testing this area is the starting point because we'd be breaking this trend line, the upper trend line. So we go from breaking the lower trend line and then really forming a busted pattern, which is incredibly bullish in this context, and breaking out of the upper trend line. That's the beginning of the move because at that moment, we have a bull market in store for Ethereum to the upside. So these are targets. I like to talk about bullish targets even in environments where things are just not looking great on the short term. So we can anticipate short-term volatility, understand it for what it is, visualize it for what it is, prepare for what it is. But for me, it's very important to zoom out on the macro, especially as we have institutions going crazy, accumulating Ethereum and getting in position with other ETFs and altcoins to accumulate altcoins. Let's pivot over to ADA. And speaking of risk models, I posted this a little bit ago to the SNEK community, which is getting great feedback. There's the founder of SNEK looking for a risk model for SNEK. So I think we're going to move ahead and do this, but we'll have a SNEK risk model. I know there's a lot of Cardano people out there watching, and we have other CNTs out there. I think this might be the third or fourth one that we add. So wanted to just bring that to your attention. But here's weekly on ADA, weekly red candles. It's not the first time we've been here before, everybody. Imagine. Actually, let me just do this real quick. Let's go back here, just like that. Boom. Imagine how bad this looked. Imagine how bad that looked. And then what happened, right? Boom. We exited that move. This is kind of what's happening with ADA. Where would you rather be bullish? When the MACD is getting crazy, kind of overheated, overbought, starting to shift momentum to the downside, right? That was the previous swing high. And then we can even go back here to the last bull market high. Would you rather be bullish right here? Or would you rather be bullish pre-bull market area where we're actually just oversold? The MACD has completely reset, continues to be suppressed. Even the quicker moving momentum oscillator is just kind of like hanging out in the oversold territory. We're putting in a higher low on the RSI even right now. For me, it's very simple. And I will remain bullish on the macro even amidst all of the unpopularness of it. But this is just because my years being in crypto and tracking these charts almost every day has taught me one thing, and that is to stick with my macro thesis. It has paid off very well for me, and I think it's going to continue playing out well. And if we go to the daily, we get a lot of just direction, even for short-term dips, right? So again, we looked at Ethereum. If cryptos keep dipping right now, if ADA's a move away from falling back into the 50s. I don't like saying that. That is not fun for me either. I don't enjoy it, but it is what it is. We have this higher low Fibonacci from this previous swing low back here to swing high. The higher low Fibonacci was tested once in the COVID swing low. And I'm talking about this lower range. We even had a crazy wick right here. But we might need to test again the lower range of this Fibonacci, continued consolidation. And if you remember going into this entire dip, I talked about on just crypto in general, when we need to bottom out and consolidate, it is just kind of a very volatile, repetitive process, indecisive process that goes on for a while. We saw it back here. We saw it at the bear market low. And guess what? We're seeing it right now. It just is what it is. So target to the downside, 50 cents. This could happen. Let's watch and see. But we even have this lower low trend line. This could get really bad, fall really kind of into the 40s. I'm not going that far just yet. I just know it's in play. We're in this falling wedge, But now to the upside, I want to talk about some things. ADA on the weekly, you notice if things do manage to turn around in some type of positive development, well, the 20-week moving average is right here around 71 cents, 10 cents above where ADA is right now. Maybe we fall first and then we're bouncing towards that area. But either way, if ADA starts making a way through these moving averages, and look at this compression of the moving averages like we've really never have seen before, we break this entire range of 65 to 71 cents. Now all of a sudden we're in a bullish macro environment, a very bullish one. And that could happen quickly, right? So if we go to the daily chart, we saw our targets to the downside. But now to the upside, if anything starts turning around, or maybe we continue falling, capitulate and get a bounce, and we're starting to turn around, we need to just watch certain areas. Obviously, the moving averages on the daily, like 71 cents, 67 cents. But this lower high trend line around 76 cents, if ADA starts making a move to those areas, well, now we have larger targets to talk about. And for ADA, in this context, it's $2 to the upside. So we have $4,000 to the upside on Ethereum. And this is more midterm, right? Short to midterm, depending on how markets move. But then we have $2 target to the upside for Cardano. And a very similar, we have this falling wedge pattern. It would be ADA breaking to the upside. It's very similar to all this consolidation out of this wedge back here. And then we broke out. That's $2. And that's not the bull market move. Just that's kind of the continued move, the bullish move for ADA towards all-time high and beyond. And it would be very reminiscent of kind of the breakout that happened back here out of all this consolidation. Boom, right? So all of this consolidation, boom. And if you go to the risk model for Cardano, we looked at similarities for Ethereum, and we've been doing this for Cardano anyway. But if you look at the risk model for Cardano, very similar area in that move back here from a risk score perspective as well. So this is just something I'm going to continue monitoring. Right now, there's going to be probably a lot of volatility. The headlines are all over the place right now. There's a lot of fear in the markets. So I'm anticipating downside. I'm ready for it. But I did want to talk about upside too, because you'd be very surprised, not all of you, but many of you might be very surprised to see how fast things turn around. So these are my thoughts and some analysis on Cardano and Ethereum today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. And if you're not in our intelligence system and you're a macro-minded investor, please check it out. The link below in the pinned comments. 40% off sale going on right now as I do this video. I will see you all in the next video. God bless.